Hey there guys, Reckoning here, and welcome to the boss rush, or so I call it, of Kisuke's story. We're going to be fighting all of Momohime's bosses save for the final boss. I went to it and the portal wasn't there, so I guess you can't fight their final boss. But you can fight the other 7? Yeah, I think 7. Now, don't pay attention to my level for the first 2 bosses, this one included, because I actually recorded the first 2 out of order. This is the first one, the Blue Monk. But I didn't exactly remember where it was. I figured I could just record all of them and then splice them together, which is basically what I did anyway. But, you know, I could do them out of order and just record them and nobody would really care. But then I was like, you know what? I might as well do it in order, because then you can see what level I actually, got to at the end of it. That way, it puts more suspense. You have to wonder how high I can get my level. But I started out, when I was working through all this, I started out at 48. And then while getting to the second boss, I got a 49. And then, so as far as you know, I got to either 50, 51, or 52 on that boss. And then got a little bit more in between. Warping from shrine to shrine does help significantly in this, because once you get to the boss, once you defeat the boss, it puts you right outside the lair. Then you can just use a bronze mirror and warp back to a shrine, or whichever one you use last, and then warp to the closest one to the thing you're going for next. It's helpful. But you are going to notice in this video that, yes, is about 34 minutes long, that I'm going to get a shitload of levels. That is because I'm fighting 7 bosses, mind you, that are all meant to be more of a, I guess, more of a challenge than the final boss that they had to fight. I will say that, for the most part, all it is they'll do more damage, and they'll take more damage. That's really the only difference, but that's what makes them stronger. But if they were easy before, they'll be easy now. Example, the Blue Monk is the piece of cake boss, which is why I'm, for the most part, breezing through it. I mean, you don't get a lot of experience off of it, but then again, you do, technically, but you have to knock down a whole health bar, of which apparently the Blue Monk has quite a few. Once you deplete a health bar, you do get a considerable amount of level out of it. And you also get to see what blades I was using at the time. I was trying to use the strongest blades I could get my hands on. And I will say, by the time that I got to the 7th boss of Momohime's story, I had actually forged every blade that you can make without starting on the white enemy layers. Because none of the white barrier bosses, which are the bosses of the other character stories, none of them grant blades, they all grant items. The Shura seal that we picked up, I'm not sure what that gives you actually. But then here we are at the second boss, the Wanudo, which I found relatively easy. And you'll notice I'm 49 here. So. I mean, it's not. Real quick, Vengeance. I was experimenting with it a little bit as I was playing, and apparently whenever you get hit, as long as your Vengeance is up, whenever you get hit, it's like something will fly off of you and hit the enemy. Which is pretty neat. I was fighting, I believe, a kite ninja at some point while I was going to and from bosses. I got a blade broken while I had my vengeance up. The vengeance went after the ninja and killed him, which was kind of where I noticed that it actually hit back, which is nice. And I think at some point I experiment with a Yasha blade, which, according to a source that I read, grants you, like, invincibility. It only seems to do that about half the time, but I only really used it in one fight. So, I'll leave that call up to you. Yeah. We're doing pretty good here, going for basically all the same moves. I'm trying to mix up my combos and not just, you know, flashing spray combo like B B B B B B B B. I'm trying to work in the like the dash, like the downward strike. Use more uppercuts. I'm gonna use a good amount of uppercuts now, but I'm gonna try and just not focus so much in just straight button mashing combo. I could also try dodging, but then what's the fun in that? But yeah, you know, Menudo is pretty easy, no matter who you're fighting with. But then again, it might be the fact that I'm using a level 50 Kisuke with the strongest blades he can equip. That might have something to do with it. And really the reason that I had the first two out of order is merely because, like I said, I didn't know where they were. So I checked online to see where the bosses were, and no source would actually tell me the locations of them. And look, I got almost 5,000 experience out of that and leveled. I got a pair of clappers. A pair of clappers increases enemy encounters. Okay. Here we're going to fight Yukinojo, which I tried implementing a strategy pretty soon in the battle, because I've heard if you can hit a samurai at just the right moment, you can instantly break their blade, which I'm sure you could do, but I don't want to bother with it, so that's why I don't. And I just throw up vengeance just for the hell of it, because I didn't know what it did yet. But if you notice, it actually does send off those little blue souls that hit your attacker. But I think it's only if you actually take health damage. Yeah. And they missed, which is just fantastic. It gives off 4 of them, which is nice. It's somehow I didn't notice it there. I don't know how I didn't notice that, but I did. So as you could tell, I'm doing, you know, all 7 bosses in one video. I would have split it in half, probably if I did have access to the 8th boss, because it will probably come out to about 40 minutes, and I can split it into 2 20-minute parts, and not feel guilty that I have 2 17-minute parts, because I'm sure that's fine, but I just want to go with a straight 20-minute. It's what I've done the entire project. That's why I change it now. This way you can see me fight all the bosses in one video. But I should also point out that this took about 4 hours to do. I don't know why it took so long. I was warping, so that should have cut down on time. Each battle is only about 5 or 6 minutes. So, say all the battles are about 35 minutes. So where does it take me an extra 3.5 hours to get to and from bosses? I mean, once I kill a boss, I can warp straight to a shrine. And then from that shrine to warp to whatever shrine I need to look for, so where did I take so much time? And I don't know how to answer that. I really don't. I have no idea how to answer that. And if I do sound tired, it's because it is 5 in the morning. Started this at 1. Figured, you know, I'll be done in like an hour or two, and then I'll have a little bit of time to watch some Ghost in the Shell. Because I have basically 2 goals this summer. They're both kind of personal goals, but you know, this is the internet, you can say whatever you want. Technically. One goal of mine, it's a kind of a minor goal, is to watch more anime. Because I barely do that. I mean, I do enjoy anime, and you know, there's some anime that I've watched that are really freaking good. You know. And I'm sure there's plenty of anime to quench my thirst for the kind of type that I enjoy watching. The second one is to lose a little bit of weight. I'm a little overweight, so I kind of want to fix that. Why did I bring this up? Oh, I was talking about gold. Yeah, I never watched Ghost in the Shell. Or, well, technically I did. Like, when it came on, it was like Adult Swim at like 3 in the morning. I don't know why, but I would just listen to the intro and then just change channels. I mean, suffice it to say, the intro is fantastic. But then I would just, you know, change channels. Because whatever episode it was on, at the point, or at the age that I was watching it, just, you know, didn't catch my attention. This damn boss. It's a pain when you fight it as Momohime, it's a bigger pain when you fight it as Kisuke, and it's a lot stronger. Because if you try and block its foot, that's pretty much an instant blade break. And if you're trying to play this on Shigori, oh god, you are in for it. I think I've brought this up before, but Shigori is perfect mode. It is unlocked by beating the game on Shura, which is about the same as Muso, but everything's a little bit more aggressive, and I guess you take more damage. You have to block, evade, and use your secret arts a little more tactfully. And you notice that I'm kind of getting my ass kicked, no pun intended, as I keep getting freaking stepped on. The problem I had with all these bosses is I had about the strongest blades that I could carry, but they still weren't doing much damage. And that really started to, like, there was nothing I could really do about it. I mean, I am level 58 fighting this boss, so that's pretty good, I guess. Well, I guess at this point, you would have at least started on some of the other layers. You would have maybe had some better blades. And if you had enough spirit and enough souls, you could get probably slightly better blades than what I had right now. But you have to be a certain level to use, you know, real high-end blades. Because the attack on the highest blade, as you know, is called Oboro Muramasa. The damage on it is over 700. To be able to use stuff that's over 500, you need to be in the 60s. You have to be in the 60s to do it. You just have to be. I forget, because I think there's one I make in between. That's, I want to say 570 or 520. Possibly 520. I didn't get punched off there, because I got hit by something else. I might have it up in the next battle, I'm not sure. But, I think it's the Yasha blade that I put on at some point. I think the damage on it is 570. Pretty sure it's 570. But, you know, you use that and it's not making a visible difference. The secret art says it's intended, or the site that I was looking at when I looked at what it said about Yasha said it was like in vulnerability. I don't think it is, because it didn't seem to work when I used it. I might have been using it wrong, which, like, how could you use the secret art wrong? You hit the button and there you go. Like, it's an aura. The game doesn't tell you what the arts do yet. You just have to try them out and see what they do. See which one you like better. But, I think I kept that blade on for most of the session. Because it's a 570, and at the point I was at, it's one of the best you're going to get. And unless you start doing white layers, like, there's only, like, maybe 1 or 2 blades better than that. And that's pushing. Actually, maybe not. Maybe that is the strongest blade you can get without doing any layers. Possibly. I think what it is the other two is just like, okay, I need something stronger than what I've got. Here's 2 other swords. I don't remember. Might have had one of the 600. That's it. Finally get it down to its last health bar. It's pretty simple. But like I was saying, Shigori mode is obtained after you beat Shura, which is basically Muso, but enemies are more aggressive, I guess do more damage. Alright, leveled up again. With Shigori mode, you know, it's named Perfect Mode for a very good reason. You only get 1 HP. You can go from level 1 to level 99. You will only get 1 HP. And as you know, surprisingly, I fight the Chimera not too bad. I do have 1 or 2 spots where I almost die. And we'll see kind of why that is. And I'll leave it up to your judgment as to whether or not I could have done a little bit better. Shigori, you only get 1 health, and as you probably know by this point, getting a blade break damages you. Combine that with only having 1 health, if blade breaks, you're dead. End of story. Does not make it fun. I think at some point while I was doing all this, I started experimenting with stone. Because I saw a guide somewhere that was a Shigori guide. Like, you're going to want to spam your stone. And it is a good idea. Because ultimately, if a blade breaks, you are dead. That's just how it goes. You can't break a blade and not take damage from it. So you're gonna want to spam the hell out of your stone. You can take solace in knowing that you'll never need a curative. You will never need to make a healing stone. You're never gonna need it. You can fill all those spots with anything that will restore blade power, or anything that will cure a status damage. That's the second one in near death. The first one I know I could have avoided. The second one, you can't really avoid it. The same kind of thing applies to Red Dog. There's an enemy type that has an attack like that. Annoying spell. People have said it's like, oh, if you get caught in this, you know, it's instant death. It's not. Trust me. I've been in one about 3 times. I've been comboed by one 3 times. It takes you to near death, but doesn't kill you. And also, I make sure I have a near full health. The Chimera's about 75% dead. So, like 5 health bars? So it's like 40% health? Something like that? Or it was. I can see. But I may actually do a video where you just tutorial mode and see how long it lasts. I think I'm stuck at the first boss. As you probably know from watching me play, I'm not exactly conservative about my blades. I get them broken quite often. So, Shigori is not going to be fun for me. That's for sure. Sooner to get all footage. I mean, the editing's simple. Just cut off the parts that I want to. Fix the game audio because as you can game audio is rather loud. And basically, whenever you can't hear me but can hear the game just fine, that means that's what I do. I lowered it like I have to do this pretty heavily. For some reason, I just think game audio is more weight right now. I had to do like shiny force. I have to do this. I really have to do it quick. I don't know why it works so loud. Who knows? I can just combo right out again. Break the blade. Firestone's kind of a interesting power. Kill with quick rope. Jade Magatama. I think that allows you to absorb souls easier. Now we're in hell. And that's where I started using stones. So I was like, what the hell. So now we're fighting Big Oni. At this point, you can see I have 4 fairy blades on. I have a long blade and I have just a regular blade. And that's the opposite. I didn't see the damage it done. I imagine this boss must be utter hell when she goes. Because you start taking damage right from the start. I think this is where I start. Well, maybe it isn't vulnerability. Okay, I don't need to hide behind the stone. I'm invincible. And then I start taking damage. So I'm like, well, maybe it expires right before it picks me up. And then he goes and he crushes somebody. Oh, I'm like, did it actually work? Still got the arc plate. Then I go off and kill a few things for some reason. Speaking of Oni, apparently there's like Big Oni, and Beast Oni. Like there's a little one of course that are just small Oni. But then, like the boss that we're fighting is Big Oni. Like right in the blue giant Oni, also called Big Oni, and then there's like ones that are like bowls of horses. Apparently they're like Beast Oni. Beast Oni for some reason have like fires. I'll take the term I'm looking for fires. Can't think of what it is. Like the Big Oni just had like clubs, but the Beast Oni had like I can't think of it. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what this thing is called. There's like gigantic fires basically. But I don't know what the word is. Oh whatever. There's going to be a enemy layer that's going to have a lot of Oni in it. And completely unrelated now. I know what I'm doing for the finale. I know what I'm doing for the finale. how I'm doing this, because this is all Kisuke's boss run. Next video is going to be all Momohime's boss run. And then after that, whenever somebody tells me what they want to, who they want to see do all the layers, then I'll do that. But so far, nobody has said anything about it. So if I don't get an answer soon, I'm gonna have to kind of decide for myself. And I'd really like you guys to, tell me who you want to see do the layers. At the moment, I might as well give it to Kisuke, because he's at a decent level, so he shouldn't have any trouble with the layers, save for one. I have a feeling you know exactly which one we're talking about. And anybody who's actually played this game and played or done all the layers, oh boy, that last one. Speaking from experience, the final enemy layer is the hardest thing in the game, hands down. Bosses are not difficult. The final bosses are not difficult. The Kisuke and Momohime fights aren't really challenging, but interesting. You're basically, when you're kind of fighting yourself because you control that character at some point. No, if you got to the second enemy, you obviously control that character. But they're basically on equal ground. So, it really comes down to who is the master of the world. Is it Jinkaro or is it Senshu? And there it goes. That being said, I think the second ending bosses are better than both third ending bosses. I don't remember what the Momohime's is. I'm pretty sure the Kisuke fight is better. I played Kisuke's third ending, and I was kind of disappointed when I saw its boss was. When we get to the third ending, we'll know exactly what I mean. But we first need to get our boy Muramasa. So, fighting big Oni. Not big. Well, it is. It's big Oni. You'll notice that there wasn't an episode of Wake Up Sunday, because it was a technical holiday and I didn't have time to upload. I got home at 2 points in the day. I got up rather early, went out for lunch, came back at 2, was home for about 10 minutes, which was not enough to really edit quick. And then I was out until 8. So I missed upload time by a few hours. 20,000 experience. Dragon God Mask. The Dragon God Mask, I believe, raised strength and almost said agility, vitality by 7 points, which is pretty good. I only really use them. Oh, here we go, Raijin. I'll say this now, Raijin almost kills me. There is a close call that if I had screwed it up, I would have died. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when it happens. If I had screwed up the move, I would have died. So you might want to keep your eye on the game, just so you can catch when it happens. And I've got the Firestorm Blade on for I don't know why. I will say that the Firestorm Blade is not exactly something you want to use against Raijin, because the way it works is you jump into the air and then you come down, and then as soon as you hit solid ground, you shoot up like fire. Well, the thing I noticed about Firestorm is that the clouds don't count as solid ground. So if you were to use it, you keep going until you hit the actual ground. because I could have gotten Raijin a few times with Firestorm had I been able to actually use the clouds, which are attacking. Little reference to video I've seen. But you know, Fairy Blaze, and there's exactly what I'm talking about. You hit the ground and Raijin's off screen, so you know, unless you're looking in her health bar, you don't know if it actually hit her. And right there, it did hit her, and it did barely any damage. But it knocked her down, so that gives me a chance to get in some hits. Something else I wanted to talk about. So, related to the project, I'm pretty sure I brought this up. Yeah, 570 it was. I just caught it. It's looking like Kisuke is going to be doing the boss layers, or the enemy layers, and I'm fine with that. That's how I did it originally, and I don't know if I want to do it with Momohime or not. It's just not what I'm used to. I prefer playing as Kisuke, and I don't really have a reason why. They can use the same blades, they have the same abilities, you know. Just Kisuke gets a little bit more health than Momohime does. That's the only difference you can really note. And they might have different stat growth. That might have something to do with it too. I'm not sure. I didn't look that close into their stats. But I will notice that for some blades, as you're leveling up, you'll hit like the strength requirement, but then you're off. But you can't use it because your vitality is still off by like 5. So then you just put it on an item that increases your vitality, and then you can fight a boss. And by the time you've beaten the boss, you are now high enough level to be able to use it without the item. Then you put your good item back on, which is basically what I did with some of these fights. Okay, so I've been knocked down to 2379 out of 7169. Is this where it happens? I throw up the Yasha to see if that'll do anything. And then I'm like, okay, roasted squid, roasted squid. Gotta be going roasted squid. So I gotta keep myself alive long enough to be able to use another roasted squid. That's the best healing item in the game. Short of hot pots. And I'm like, oh god. Just gotta keep getting... See, now there I tried to dash through the lightning, because I'm pretty sure you can dodge it that way. Then I'm here like, oh god, and there you go. I was able to actually roll through the lightning. Now, had I not been able to pull off the roll, had the roll failed and I'd been hit by the lightning, I would have died. There is no doubt about that. I would have died. Suspense. But then, as you can see, I'm pretty close to beating Raijin, so we're doing good. But that'll pretty much end off this video, because once Raijin is defeated, the video is going to end. So next time we'll be fighting Kisuke's bosses with Momohime and her boss rush. And hopefully it won't take me 4 hours to do next time. So until then, you know the drill. Leave a comment for whoever you want to do the enemy layers, and I will see you guys in the next one.